Hello everybody, in this video we're going to continue work on the sanding rack and make the frame to hold this spindle. So let's get going. So let's start this video in the wood section. I've actually not planned this out at all. I don't know what material I'm using. I don't actually know what material I've got. Yeah, I'm just going to completely wing this, to be honest. You know what, I'm going to stick with the theme of ash for this. I've got a massive slab. In fact, I could just cut up that bit. No, it's not going to be long enough. I've got a big old slab here that I've had knocking around for ages. I think this may have even been the first bit of wood that I ever purchased, and it was to make the Moxon vise that I've got under my workbench. Yeah, look. There we go. Same tree. It's a shame because it's a really clean, tight-grained bit of ash, and the only thing it's destined to be is workshop furniture. So I'm going to start laying this out. It's worth saying that there are going to be free plans for this available on my website, so link to that will be in the description. Feel free to download them. I completely forgot that this thing was just covered in knots, in really inconvenient places. Like if I flip this over, knots, voids, massive knot. Yeah, the only clean area I've got is kind of round here, but I need a section that is as long as this, and annoyingly, it just encroaches on this big thing here. So I'm gonna have to use the other side. So I've marked out a rectangle on here, and I'm going to cut that off, and then I'm going to resaw it in half, so then I get the back panel of the sanding rack, and then I can use the other half of it to create the two side panels as well. That's what I'm thinking. We'll see what it looks like when I chop it up. Changed my mind. These are rather disgusting bits of ash. I'm quite happy that I'm using these for workshop furniture as opposed to actual furniture. So I am going to dovetail these together, as I said in the previous episode, and it's quite nice with this because all three components have been cut out of one piece of timber, and I can get some sort of continuous grain going on. It's not exact. I definitely could have planned it so it was exact, but I'm not too fussed. I've got some kind of orangey grain at the bottom, and then it goes up to the tighter grain at the top. This was the cleanest board I could find with regards to all these knots and stuff on it. The back of this is, yeah, looks a bit torn up. I know a lot of you will say, Matt, make a feature of it, fill it with epoxy, but I just can't be bothered, in all honesty. I just want to get this dovetailed together and sort out my sandpaper. So I'm going to stick with that. So now I've got the Moxon vise out, I'm kind of in the mood to just use it. I never really get a chance to anymore, so yeah, might as well go for it. This Moxon vise is made by Benchcrafted in the US, so if you want to buy it, you can get it from Benchcrafted direct, or if you're in the UK, you can get it from Classic Hand Tools. And as you can see, it is perfect for clamping wide boards like this very, very securely, ideal for dovetailing. So this isn't going to be a dovetail demo. Already done a video on that. I'm not going to waste time on how to do it. I'm going to use, I've lost the key again. I'm going to be using the Katz-Moses dovetail guide because I want it to look pretty, but at the same time, I just kind of want to get it done without having to think too much. So this dovetail guide will be ideal, but this guide is featured in that dovetail video. So if you want to know how to do this, then go and have a look at that. But for now, we are just going to time lapse this. So these boards that I'm using, apparently there was a lot of tension in them because you can see how it's sitting flat against the jaws here, but then it bows away. This has cupped quite considerably. But the advantage of a Moxon vise is you can crank it up and it pushes it flat against that back jaw. So now this component is flat, the only issue being the one that I need to score around is rocking on there as well. So I reckon a couple of these on it should help pull it down. Okay, so those dovetails all fitted lovely. The reason I say fitted, as in fitted in the past tense, is because the way I normally disassemble dovetails, you'll notice how we're missing one of them up here, is I hold it like that and then I whack it down like this and then it pushes the dovetails out evenly. The key to that is the word evenly. When I disassembled this one, I didn't do it evenly. As a result, I have managed to split it. So I am going to glue this back together and then relieve some of the pressure from this inside pin that will cause that to split when it gets assembled next time. It's been a while since I've managed to split something clean in half, so we're doing pretty well here. So I'll get that sorted and then we'll talk about what we're doing next. Okay, so on these side panels there's going to be a kind of shape like that sort of thing going on. So this is where the sandpaper rack will slide into and then it will drop down and lock into place. And then this area here is like, you'll see, there's going to be something to do with a bandsaw blade poking out of that, which will allow you to tear the sandpaper off nice and clean. And yeah, that's the basic idea of it. So I'm going to start laying out this curve accurately and decipher these plans that I've drawn. I'm definitely missing some dimensions from this. All right, so I'm going to swap the bandsaw blade round to a much thinner one and then start cutting out those curves. Okay, so we've got some lovely radiuses on that. They don't need to be accurate because for starters, they're 600 millimeters apart. You're not going to see any discrepancies in those. So I was quite happy to just attack those with the bobbin sander and get it as close to the line as possible. Now I need to drill out two holes in here, one at 45 millimeters and one at 25 millimeters just below it, and then join those together so we kind of create a keyhole sort of thing. And that is where the locking mechanism for this lies. You put it in through the 45 millimeter hole and then you slot it down into the 25, and then that 25 fits around the spindle, and this can't move sideways because it's locked in by these. Genius, or at least I hope it is anyway. That would have been a little bit more snappy if I had got the diameters on this more consistent, or should I say more accurate to 25 millimeters. I forgot to mention that. If this is the first video in this series that you're watching, then just be aware that I did a video previously on making this thing on the lathe. So have a look at that if you want to know how I made this. But yeah, that is the idea. It will slide in, or in fact you'll have two of them like that, and then it will slide in from the side, go through both of them, slide down, and then it's locked. That's pretty cool. I like it. So now I'm just going to have a quick tidy up of the workshop, and hopefully by the time I'm done dithering around, the component that I split in half will be finished drying, and I'll be able to make another one of these and glue the lot together. Well, turns out I didn't leave it long enough, but to be honest, I am just going to glue both these dovetails into the sockets and then just put a clamp top to bottom to push it together, because I can't be asked to wait and I want to get this in the clamps. So let's continue. Alright, and then I'm going to give the inside faces a quick sand because they're going to be difficult to get access to after it's glued together. I'll probably take these up to 180 grit. And then I think a quick radius on the router table, or a quick chamfer, sorry, what have we got in there? Chamfer bit. We'll put a chamfer on it. Cool, right, we will leave this here drying overnight, but look, that slides, come on, through, and then locks down. So you can kind of get an idea as to what this thing is going to look like. There you go, that's going to work pretty nicely, I think. So I'm going to call this episode here, and then in the next one we'll get cleaning it up, attaching the bandsaw blade to cut the sandpaper to length, and get it mounted to the wall. So don't forget, if you want to learn dovetailing, be sure to watch my video I filmed ages ago on the subject. The link is in the description. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video.